Okay, guys, we're over here at Mike's camp. Mike is the gold prospecting seminar guy, and you guys know me, I'm all into the gold prospecting thing. I've been LDMA, GPAA for a long time, so I had to come over here and check it out. I might even help out if they need any help. Um, he gave me permission to record, so I figure, what better time to do a live feed, right? Although I didn't bring a tripod, so we'll have to figure out somehow. I did bring enough battery power to run this phone through the whole seminar, but I didn't bring a tripod, so we'll just play it by ear. Here's everybody at the prospect seminar. Going to start in just about a minute, so I'll give somebody a little time to log in here. You know, gold prospecting goes hand in hand with boondocking because we're on public lands, and those are the places where you're allowed to prospect. Of course, there are rules and regulations you got to learn, and the clubs, the LDMA and the GPAA, they give you places to camp too. I'm going to try to squeeze up here in the front so I can hear him.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start. My name's Mike. I have a disease called gold fever.
Me too.
And
You might have that one.
once you get it, it's kind of hard to get rid of.
Why would you want to?
Yeah, why would you want to? It's basically just a hobby for me, but I spend a couple months a year doing the hobby. So it's a little bit more than a hobby. One of the few hobbies you can make a couple bucks doing. It's Mother's Nature's lotto is what I like to say.
That's a
You
good
never know. And
Yep.
it's usually the newcomers, the beginners, that have the best luck at finding a nugget.
Just like gambling.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I've seen it happen. I've heard about it happening from reliable sources, so I don't know. You look and look and look and you find a little bit and somebody new comes along and digs a hole right next to you and finds a nugget. Happens. First off, I'm going to talk a little bit about, everybody wants to know where to go, okay? I always tell them, go where the old timers found gold. There's still gold there. They were good, but they weren't that good. No one is. Even with modern methods, they don't get 100% of the gold. It's still there. It'll always be there. It's just a little bit harder nowadays to get out. A lot of the bigger chunks were found by the old timers. You get a lot more of the smaller stuff now because they really didn't. It's not that they didn't care about it, but their methods they used, a lot of it washed away.
Hopefully,
They weren't
yeah.
interested in chunky.
At least,
bigger
if
gold.
not out here on my way back, I'm going to
I
do
don't
some
blame
dry
you.
washing.
I mean, if I had a choice, that's what I'd do too. But where to go? Any of the historic areas still have gold. The problem is most of the areas around them are claimed. You don't want to get caught on somebody else's claim. So what do? Join a local club is one way. Most of them are fairly cheap. They have local people. They know where to go. They have local knowledge. Most of them are willing to teach. The club in town's $20 a year. They have a couple claims. There's a guy down the road here has a pay to pad. He's a lot. I forget what he charges. I think it's too much, but there's always public prospecting areas, no matter what state you're in or area you're in. Just do an internet search. Public prospecting areas of Arizona. on
I'm
the
gonna try to
internet.
set this down so it won't be so
They'll come
shaky.
up. So this won't be a, but it gets you going. In those areas you go in, they usually have restrictions. Can't burn your tobacco, no dynamite, but with a pan, you're usually fine. Usually a sleuth box, a shovel, classifier. I'll go over all that equipment. So those are your two easy areas for newbies. These books, a lot of them were published in the 30s by the government because of the Depression. Arizona gold places of mining in Nevada. They tell you where to go. Every place in the state that has gold in 1930 to 1938, you can find
you
these
guys hear
books
that
in
okay?
almost every state. They're fairly cheap. Actually, most of them are on the internet, free. I just, I have a hard time reading books on a computer. I can read on a computer, but I'd much rather have the paper book. This one was $7, and I got it forever. I can make little notes in it and that kind of stuff. There's another one just for Pershing County, Nevada. And you can find it for most counties too. I have a lot of books. This one's little known little known gold placers in Arizona. This book's a little bit more, it's a modern book. The guy wants to make money. But it's an okay book. Can't get this one free online though. Nationwide, there's the GPAA. Has anybody heard of them?
I'm a member and LDMA.
Okay, this is an old mining guide. They have, I don't know, I've never counted. They have upwards of probably 1,000 claims throughout the country. Most of their claims I found to be fairly poor. Costs like $60 a year. And join, you get a book that tells you where to go. You get a panning kit, and you're legal anywhere in the country. Now a lot of states don't have gold. A lot of them you wouldn't even think do, like Michigan, Maine, New Hampshire. Someone was right there. We were talking about that a minute ago.
And the properties
Back east in Carolinas, there's gold. The Llano River in Texas has gold, and that's open to the public. It's real fine. Mexico has gold. Arizona, California, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Colorado.
and all their claims are on public land, so you can camp there too.
Yeah, right. That's another thing people get confused on. All a claim is, it gives the claim owner exclusive mineral rights. So, right in the next section up, there's claims. You can do anything you can do here except pick up rocks, okay? You can't prospect on somebody else's claim. You can't, basically no one's gonna really say anything. You pick up a rock and drop it. But if you pick them up and throw them in the back of your car and take home, that's mineral trespass. But you can camp, you can hunt, you can fish, you can horseback ride, you can hike, you can mountain bike, you can do anything that's legal in the area on a claim. Just can't take rocks home. No matter if the rock has gold in it or not, you can't take any rock home. You can file your own claim. I have some books how to do it. You can buy claims on eBay. You can buy claims on Craigslist. Be very, very careful. I would recommend, if you're a newbie, not to do that.
The people who sell those will wait until you lapse one day and then buy it right back out from underneath you and sell it to
A
the
lot
next
of them aren't
person.
even legit claims. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can go to the BLM and file a claim right over someone else's claim. They'll take your money, give you the paperwork, and then they'll take that claim, which is good, and they'll sell on eBay, and you'll get the paperwork. But the paperwork ain't no good. The BLM don't care. They'll just take your money and give you the paperwork and say, okay, there you go. But the claim ain't no good. And the original claimant, once he figures it out, then any money you put out's gone. So don't go buy a claim on eBay. Some of those guys want a fortune for don't do it. Once you get some experience, 10, 20 years of it, you make your own decision then. Anybody have any questions about where to go? I'll explain where the gold is, but about where to go in general. Yes.
Can I ask you a question about the claim?
Yeah.
How long, if you file a claim, how long is that claim good for?
1 year.
Just 1 year?
$155 for 20 acres for 1 year.
But you
Every
can renew
year,
it.
you got to give them another $155. Or you got to file a small miner's waivers sheet that says you did a certain amount of work on your claim, which exempts you from the $155, and you still keep your claim. Nowadays, most people pay the $155. They don't want to have to deal with someone saying, "Oh, he didn't really do the work on that claim. He didn't," It could be. So they just pay the $155. But some of the old timers still do the miners' waivers. I've prospected on some of their claims and signed the affidavit saying I did so many hours worth of work on this claim. There's a plus. I saw a hand over here.
I was just wondering about enforcement.
Enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, if you own a claim and somebody else is prospecting on it.
It's up to you.
Listen.
Okay, yeah, so it's,
There's actually an old law in the book. If you catch somebody working your claim, you have the right to keep their equipment and anything that they found.
Okay.
You don't want to mess with the old timers.
I
Believe
figured,
me.
yeah.
Believe me.
It's like fishing rights.
Don't mess with them. Ask their permission. Most of them will give it to you.
And teach you how to do it too.
Yeah. So
You may have already answered this because I got here a few minutes late. Are there signs showing where the claim is, or do you just?
they're supposed to be,
Okay.
but that's a gray area. There's certain environmental groups that like to go around tearing those posts out. A claim's supposed to be marked on all four corners and the point of discovery. At the point of discovery, there's a piece of paper in a jar, a tin can, a pill container, whatever, that tells the description, explains the boundaries, all that. That's, if there's no marker there, that's not going to get you out of mineral trespass. Because of the fact, like I just said, some groups like to tear the markers
Is
out.
there somewhere you can go look it up?
Yes.
Okay.
2000.
Yeah, but that's really hard to
Complicated.
navigate. The best place I found that's free is My Land Matters. Doesn't cost anything, and not only for mining claims, but geology, public land. It shows the boundaries of BLM, state land, Forest Service. You can blow it up. It shows down to the feet. So you can tell if you're on BLM land or if you're on private property, you're on state land, you're on Forest Service land. There's no excuse if you're on that to not know where you are.
Yeah, what's that called?
My Land Matters. Who said that?
Somebody back that way.
Okay, My Land Matters.
.com?
I think it's .org. And you can type in Land Matters. For some reason, both of them go to the same place. If you look at the actual address, it says My Land Matters, but if you type in Land Matters, it takes you to the same place. And it's all kinds of neat information on there too. They have excellent maps. I'll get into maps a little bit, but they'll do satellite views. They'll do what looks like a Google map, which are terrible maps, or they'll do like a topo map, US, which they are USGS maps.
Hey Mike, there's one more place too. If anybody's interested in a certain area, you go to, especially if you found something, you go to the county seat, to the courthouse, and have records of all current
Right.
files of claims. And then you can find out somebody if they didn't pay their assessment due.
Right. That's a good point. When you file a claim, you have to file it with the BLM and the county recorder. Both those have to be up to date and current.
And it becomes public knowledge.
Right, and it becomes public knowledge. Anybody can go into the county courthouse, depending on where you're at, what county, as to how easy it is to access their information. Most counties are trying to put it online, but it's not 100% yet. So you have to physically go in. I've done that before. You physically go into the county, you ask to see their mineral claim records, and they'll show you. They have no problem doing that, because you got to know how to use it. To understand the claiming system, you got to know the public land survey system. GPS coordinates does you no good unless you have a converter on your computer. Okay? The public land survey system, for newbies, it looks real confusing. You'll see like you see like Mount Diablo, Meridian. It's real confusing. If you want to come up out, I'll show you how they write it out. You get north, some numbers, south some numbers, east, west, northwest, east corner of this. When you're new, it's real confusing. YouTube has some excellent tutorials of how to decipher it. It's not hard once you learn.
Thanks.
But basically, all claims are filed that way.
I'm hoping they'll let me get up and talk, but we'll see.
All property in the western United States is that way. If you have property somewhere, it's under the land survey, the system.
Question, how does it work with First Nations reserves?
Pardon me?
First Nations reserves,
Yeah?
how does that work?
You don't go on them unless you have permission, and then I'll still be sketched about doing it. You talk about Indian tribes.
Don't mess with them.
Yeah, you don't mess with them. At least not down here. First Nations is a Canadian. You're Canadian?
I'm Canadian, yeah.
Yeah, that's a Canadian thing. I don't know exactly how it works up here. Down here, don't even do it unless you have specific written information that says you're good to go. I wouldn't do it. They don't like the white eyes.
Question. On My Land Matters, my son's really into all this and he wants to do a claim. And, you know, we've gone to My Land Matters and you can drill down and find out who owns all these little
Right.
sections. And it's like a square grid. And, you know, there's all these squares where there's already claims. Okay, so when there's other areas that have no squares. So are those areas that have no squares, are those areas where you could go and,
Most of the time,
okay,
90% of the time. If it's old areas, there's claims all around, most of the time, yes, that's true. Now, there are some exceptions to where you can and can't file a claim. There's reserves, wildlife reserves, energy reserves, national parks. No, you can't file a claim in a national park. You can't even prospect in a national park. You're not supposed to pick up a rock and take it with you. So up to anybody here heard of Oatman?
Yes.
They're out of Needles. Okay? It depends on where you're at. They break it down. I think Arizona has, I want to say, 9 or 10 different BLM districts, to where you have to go to that office. If you go to another office, they're going to go, I don't know, you got to go to this office. A lot of them won't even have a map for the other office. It's like, God, come on. But yeah.
That sounds like government.
And here's another thing. Every once in a while, they get a hair somewhere, and they decide they want to change all the numberings on their roads. And they'll do it. They did it here. So most of the maps for this area that were not updated in the last 3 years, the numberings are no good. Okay? I searched everywhere for the new map. Couldn't find it. Last year, 2 years ago, I went down to the check-in station at the LTVA. They had it. So, I don't know. Also, the BL and the Forest Service, they have these motor vehicle use maps. And they try to tell you that you're only allowed to go on those roads. Well, if you dig deep enough in the ranger station, when you're prospecting, you can use any road that's a legal right-of-way. And they have those maps buried in the back. If you can get them out of them, is one thing, but they have them. So I don't know what to tell you on that, but what they're telling you you can do, in a lot of places you can do a lot more. Remember this, prospecting and mining is the only use of public land that was given to you by Congress. Congress said you have the right to do that. They didn't say you have the right to camp, hunt, fish, horseback ride ATVs. They didn't do that. But they did say you have the right to prospect and mine.
On public
What
land.
you want to do with that information, I'm not going to give you anything other than let you know that that's the way it is.
Well, that's for now, because they're trying to change it.
They have been trying to change it for years.
And this only applies to public land?
Pardon me?
All public land.
Well, like I said, national parks are off limits.
Right.
State parks are usually off limits.
State parks are usually off limits. National recreation areas are usually off limits. Wildlife reserves can go either way.
And private property.
Most of them are off limits.
Yeah.
Um,
And Indian, no. Private
Indian, you have to go to the individual tribe, and I would do that before you even did anything. Energy for hydroelectric and stuff like that, you have to go to Corps of Engineers.
Oh.
Sometimes they let you prospect, but you can't file a claim. So it's up to depends on where you're at. Okay. Any more questions about where to go?
I got a question.
Sure. Who said that?
What determines the size of a claim? I've seen
The
claims
government.
like in that book. They're big
20
ones,
acres
little
for a
ones.
placer claim. I think it's 20.55 acres for a hard rock claim.
What was the placer?
20 acres. You
Any shape you want?
no. They're rectangles. You can make the rectangle narrow and long, short and wide. You can do that, but they're rectangles. Same with the hard rock. They're rectangles too, but most of the time they're narrow and long because they're following a vein. Basically, not too many of you are going to be filing hard rock claims. Here's another
Is
thing.
that gems?
Pardon me?
Is that gems? What's hard rock?
Hard rock's in the rocks. That's where you get the gold out of. You go in the mountain, you dig a tunnel.
Oh.
Oh, no one wants to do that, do they? I don't. But here's another thing. If it's a load claim, you're allowed to placer gold's free gold that's out here. You're allowed to prospect on a load claim for placer gold unless the guy who filed the claim filed both. Okay? So that's a little tidbit of knowledge for you. Any more questions about where to go? And I'll
You have to. I got a question. Do you have to hire a land surveyor to
No.
establish? You don't.
you do it yourself.
Okay.
Watch your YouTube videos how to determine
a little bit about it.
who's calling me. Where's my sister? No, I was having you answer it. Where is she?
Behind you.
Here, answer it.
He throws it in the bucket of
Yeah,
water.
tell him.
That's the nice thing about mine. It is waterproof. I can get away with that.
Well, mine is too, but
I've been known to do that.
what were we talking about?
Well, you
Survey.
survey it. You
Yeah.
gotta come. You got to find the section corners and come in and.
That makes it easy.
But also, in many of these places, they've been previously claimed, and if you can find the old claim,
Right.
you
Gotcha.
can find the old boundaries.
Right.
And then you can come off of their boundaries.
You need good maps. Google Maps does not work for prospecting. Google Maps, as far as I'm concerned, don't work for anything.
It sucks.
You need to use USGS maps. They will, and you need to learn how to read them. Now, this is if you're filing your own claim. This is once you've graduated, okay? From going to the public areas, joining the local clubs. You need to be able to read the USGS maps. You know what? One of these days I'll bring one to show you. I don't have any with me. Because nowadays, I do it all online. The maps are all available online, but I go a lot of places that's not online, so I use these. It's a Nat Geo for the state of Arizona. They have all the U.S. for Arizona on here. These are really neat.
Is that a set of CDs?
Pardon me?
What is it? Is CDs or?
Yes, it's CDs. So you got to have a computer that reads CDs. I know this is 90s stuff. I know. You can get all these maps online. But a lot of times, see, I do these because I don't need to be online. And a lot of places I go, you can't get online because there's no cell service. So,
90s was floppy still, in some people's opinion.
I like these. I use them all the time. But the only thing I wish, the older maps were 15 minutes. They don't have the older maps on there. The 15-minute maps are better than the
Own applications with topo on it, USGS. I use one called View Ranger, and not only is it good for prospecting, but it's also good for finding boondocking locations. Because when you open up the map, Brad will be once you're in the app, it's pretty self-explanatory. View Ranger on Android. I'm not sure about iPhone, but I'm sure they have something similar.
yeah.
U Ranger, YOU?
VI, like,
Oh,
I can
View.
see the View Ranger.
View Ranger.
And it's just one of many. There's a dozen different apps. That's just the one I like. Just put in US Topo Map app, and some of them will even let you download the area, so when you get there and you don't have signal, it'll still work.
The reason I brought up the USGS maps, they'll tell you what township you're in. That's 640 acres, a square mile. They have all those printed on the map. And it makes filing a claim much easier and knowing where you're at. If you know the public land survey system, it makes that a lot easier.
I might be jumping the gun, but once you figure out you want to prospect in a certain area, what do you look for? What's like
Okay,
stream bed or?
I'll get to that.
Okay, later.
I was gonna go over equipment first.
Okay.
So, anybody have any questions about where to go? Okay, equipment. What do I need? You need one of these. No matter where you're at. Get a pan. They have kits. You get a pan. You get a plastic classifier that I break them after a couple years. This is a metal one. Should give you a snuffer bottle. A little thing that sucks up. I wish I do have one somewhere.
Sorry, guys.
It's a better kit to give you a better bottle like this.
Oh, just suck it in.
They suck it up like this, but the gold won't come out because the tube goes way back into here. A classifier. I'll get back to that in a minute. The pans, there's kinds of pans as you can imagine. Everybody's trying to mine the miners.
That's where the money's at.
This is true. PAA pad. I really like these. They give them away when you join. Or you can buy them at their gold shows for a couple. A lot of people like these Garrett Super Sleuth Gold Pan. I think the riffles are too big. Okay? See this one? This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 riffles that are smaller. This one has 2 riffles that are huge. I find that one easier to work.
I've got the new GPAA pan, and it's got the ripples, but in the bottom it's got like a cutout or something.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
don't know.
seen one like. Is that just for show?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to see one.
I can go get it.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of
well,
curious too.
You don't have to do it right now. This is the old style before they had the drop riffles. See, these drop. These are raised. Well, a lot of your cheap pans still have these. The drop ones work a lot better. These will work, but the drop ones
I
work a
think
lot
they're
better.
asking for you to show it that
Yeah,
direction.
Mike, do you wanna pass those around by any chance?
What's that?
Do you wanna pass them? You can walk around.
Yeah, I can do that. This one has a fancy thing.
Oh, she can carry it.
You're supposed to pour your gold into your vial. It don't work either. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are smaller than all of them. I find that's too many. Okay, so it's a really personal preference thing. Whatever works for you.
In the
Let me get a dry one.
We're in the sun. It doesn't
Yeah,
really
I'll
matter.
start these over here. Look at them. Just pass them down. I'll start these over here. Your better pans has who makes them. This is Gold Grabber. This is GPAA on the back. Your cheap Chinese ones don't, because they don't want you to know who makes them. I'll get to that too. Now you'll get a plastic classifier, and that'll do you fine. For, like I said, they usually last a couple years. These are much better. These should last you, unless you really, really work them, these will last you 10 years or longer. Some of these are kind of old.
Mike, don't the classifiers fit inside a 5-gallon bucket?
I don't know if he does, but check out Gold Fever Radio and Jeff Williams. They both have YouTube channels. I also have some gold prospecting videos in my older ones. Sorry, people get annoyed when I talk, so I can't talk.
Go like that. You look at this, if you got a nugget that won't go through that screen, you're gonna go, oh man, I'm gonna go buy a new truck right now.
And the property.
And the smaller stuff goes into the bucket. And that's basically, that's what classifiers do. It's a lot easier to work material if it's all the same size. Now this size is just to get the big rocks out. You look at it and you go, huh. This is a 2. That means there's 2 2 holes per square inch, so they're half-inch holes. There's a 4 holes, they're quarter-inch holes. This is more useful. 8. I use this one a lot. 20, 30, 50, 100. That's what 100 looks like. Fly poop won't go through it. Okay? But this, you run it through there, so it's all the same, basically the same size. This will separate it. You don't need chemicals nowadays. You don't need them. They got equipment, and now I'm stacking them all wrong. Okay, so what you go today nowadays is smaller stuff, but you'll always find, if you're in a good area, you'll always find bigger stuff too. It's just not as common as it used to be. Small nuggets. I've never found any to get rid of, just get rid of it. And you can use these in the pan, just like a bucket. So you're on your creek, you put that there, you shovel into this, and it works a lot better wet. Everything works better wet. I'll go over that too. You get your material here, get underwater, bring it up the water, you can do underwater, take it like that. All the light, the screw. I wouldn't want to pan over this, but that's another story. This is basically for a bucket. But on this size, yeah, I'll pan anything that falls through that. No problem.
Is this just for gold?
These
technique that you're describing?
No, actually, that's a good question. Actually, they do this with diamonds, rubies. They do it for a lot of gemstones too.
Okay.
And you can actually pan a lot of gemstones.
Okay.
You have to be in the area where, those are located and everything. But especially like Northern Nevada, you'll find garnets. Garnets are very common with gold, but in Northern Nevada, it's very common.
Okay.
So you'll find garnets. So keep your eye out for
Isn't it true that you can
Oregon sunstones. You can stake a claim, but you go to the sunstone area, everything's claimed. In fact, some of the mines there have been patented. They're private property. There is a public collection area though. The only diamonds I know about is in Arkansas, that one mine. So I don't know the situation there.
Apparently you can just walk along and pick them up.
Garnets, you can stake a claim for garnets, I believe, because that has an industrial use for sandpaper.
Okay.
So, opals, you can stake a claim on. I'd have to, the gemstones, if I go after them, I go to public areas.
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about staking a claim for.
I understood you had to have some sort of mineral, so that if there's a
There is a
associated with
list that
mineral.
tells you what you can stake a claim for.
Yeah.
You can't stake a claim for sand and gravel. You can't stake a claim for oil or gas. Like I said, diamonds I'm not sure of.
If you stake a claim for one mineral and someone comes on that claim and grabs another, is it still mineral trespass?
Yes. Yeah.
Thought so by your previous
Your
description.
claim, even, they used to ask you. They don't ask you no more. Well, they might ask you, but it's not written on the, if you go to the discovery marker, the old claims has gold, silver, tungsten, whatever it was. The new paperwork doesn't even have that. So it's, no one's gonna know anymore either.
The noise.
All you know is a claim. Okay, equipment, where are we here? Oh, who had a question?
Yeah, I got a question. Yeah, I downloaded this rock and mineral gemstone guide online with my friend.
Yeah.
And it's online, and it's free, and you can download it.
Okay.
And it has for every rock and gem and mineral that you can get.
And it tells you where to find them?
No, it just tells you a guide of what minerals and rocks are and what they look like, you know?
Okay, you know what? That's a good thing right there. There's a free thing on the web too called Mine Data.
M-I-N-E?
It doesn't tell you claims really, but if you see a mine somewhere, you can look it up. You got to know how to figure out how the name of it, or use their map to find it. But it'll tell you what was mined there, and it'll tell you like was 85 gold was what came out of the mines. It's called mine data. It kind of helpful if you don't know, if you come across the mine you don't know. A lot of times you can tell what was mined by the way the mine was set up, but a lot of times you can't. Which brings up if you don't know, don't ever go into a hard rock mine. Even my be careful. Never use cooking dishes, pots, pans for your mining operation. Mercury likes to stick to gold. That's why the old timers use mercury in their process. Don't ever heat gold inside your house on a cooking utensil or even on your stove that you use to cook on. I heat it, but I do it outside. I heat it to dry it. So I just heat the pan up. I'm not around it. I'm not breathing the fumes. Don't do it. Most of the time you're okay. It only takes one time. I'm breathing mercury fumes, and that's it. So, and believe it or not, no matter what you hear in the news, mercury is a natural occurring mineral compound. It's actually an element. It's naturally occurring, and it's all over the place. While it's not everywhere, but where it's at, it is. That makes sense? San Jose, California. What's the name of their newspaper?
Mercury.
The Mercury, right.
And
Okay?
today's miners, we
Why
remove
was
it.
it named that? Because when white man got there, the mercury was oozing out of the ground. There's a huge, there used to be, I think it's closed now, huge mercury mine there. So, mercury's bad, don't mess with it, but also it's a pretty common element that's in the environment, okay? So.
We remove it from the environment when we're doing what we do.
Yes, actually the gold miners do.
And lead and all kinds of.
Yeah, that's another good point. Lead too. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
What they should do, and they used to do this, I don't know why they don't anymore. The fishing game in some states, the BLM in some areas, the Forest Service, they used to have collection areas for the mercury, for the lead, and that pretty much has gone away. I don't know why, but they should be doing that. Because we have no use for the mercury these days. You don't need it. So get rid of it. Get it out of there. Okay.
What's your favorite way of pulling mercury? Is it still a magnet? Is the best way?
No, it's not magnetic. What do you mean pulling it? To get away from the gold?
Yeah.
My favorite way is don't get it on the gold to begin with. If you got mercury on your gold, keep it. If you got one little piece with mercury on it, keep it separate. Basically, the best. I'm not going to tell you to process it yourself. Sell it to somebody who knows what they're doing. Okay. Pardon me?
It'll look silver.
It'll look silver. Remember back in school, they took a shiny penny and dipped it in mercury, and it turned to silver.
Thermometers is a better example.
Yeah. Those are getting hard to fine tune now, though. Thermostats had it in there, you know, for your heater. They had them in there. But when I was in school, they poured it in your hand. You went, ooh.
Quicksilver.
Right.
You saying I should throw all my mercury away then?
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw it away. Talk to me up. No. Like I said, I don't use it. So I'm not saying I never did, but you don't need it anymore for gold. Basically, it creates more headaches than it's worth.
Plus, where you throw it away at. You wouldn't want to expose the environment to more of it.
Take it to a hazardous waste collection.
Yeah, that's the EPA thing now.
You take it to a hazardous waste collection. If you got gold on it, there are places you have to do a search. There are places you can take it to. Well, they'll get the mercury off and buy your gold.
Back to equipment, is all of your work, is it with painting, or do you use metal detectors at all?
Yes, I'll get to that. I know I'm kind of getting all off the place. Yeah, someone over here had a
Yeah, I
question.
was just wondering, is there a good resource, like a field guide to minerals, like to recognize what you have in your hand?
The Audubon
Audubon
field guides, are you familiar with them? The
Yeah,
bird
yeah.
one's excellent, the mineral one's excellent too.
Okay.
The only problem I have with that is they tend to show museum quality pieces. But yeah, it's an excellent guide. Okay. Any more? How do I find? Okay, well I'll get to that. This is my desert setup. This blue bowl, this dry washer. I'm not going to run the dry out. After I'm all done, if it's still light out, I'll give a quick demonstration on dry washer. The dry wash. Always wear a dust mask when you're using a dry washer. Okay, don't play around. It creates a horrendous amount of dust. Okay, it's not real efficient, but it's better than nothing. Because using water is a lot more efficient than using a dry washer. It's just not works, and it works pretty good. I can't say how efficient it is because it depends on where you're at, how big the gold is, blah 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 blah. But I use it, and I found gold with it, no problem. You put it through the dry washer. It screens out. I know you can get up and look later, but it screens out anything bigger than this, even bigger than that. It screens it out right here on the screen, up down there. You might want to check it when you're done. Spread that out and check it. Then this part's like a sleuth box. Just like when you have water. The material falls through here and it goes over these riffles. Riffles for a dry washer are opposite than a water sleuth. But it works basically the same. Air blows up from underneath, blows your lighter material off. That's what makes it dusty. And your heavy material gets caught behind the riffles. And it goes, as it goes down, all your gold should be up in this area. If you're finding gold down there, you're not adjusted right. So it goes through there. At the end of the day, you pop this out, and you pour it into the top, got your big rocks out. So you put your screen on your bucket. You pour what's in there and there. I always get water. You can do it dry, but at that point, I get water. Even in the middle of the desert, I can get water. There's springs up there. If you look in the back of this Ford, there's two 30-gallon drums. When I'm prospecting an area, I'll find the natural water. For this process, this, and this, because it makes it so much more efficient. It doesn't take, this water gets recirculated, and all these, it doesn't take a lot. 60 gallons will last a week. And go get 60 more. Might take a while in some springs, others takes 5 minutes, you know. You put water through here, wash it. You wash it down, you use your hands, you rub it. Washing your rocks. It's like when you take a bath, you wash them. Because the dirt that sticks to these rocks, this is everywhere. Everywhere you go. See that dirt? Could be gold in it. So you wash them. That's why water is so much better. Wash them. Clean them. You take your material that you washed, it's in your bucket. There's a little bit in here. It's gone through your number 8 screen. Now you don't have to do all this. You just pan it now. But I run it through a number 20 screen. Anything that stays on top of this, I pan. I can do it quick. Once you learn how, you can too. But basically, all my pans. Where's my pans?
Oh, they're on the map.
Yeah, give me that. Anything that won't go through a 20, take it. You can get these at Home Depot. They're like 12 bucks. Takes about 15 gallons of water. Use that water for, depending on clay content, forever. There's not going to be any gold in here. You just pan it. Watch, there'll be gold in here.
So basically, what are you doing when you're panning?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, yeah, you can come by and I'll teach you.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it today because we'd be here till tomorrow morning and then some. But if you want to come by tomorrow, next day, whenever, I'll teach you how to pan.
I think you better put a sign up for people though.
Maybe I'll set up another tub and teach 2 people at once. Because I have more tubs. Don't worry. Okay, so that's...
Put a sign up, see, put a tip jar next to it.
And actually, if all you have is a pan and a screen, then you pan everything. You don't need $1 million of equipment to find gold. You need a pan, a classifier helps. If you don't have one, you don't need it. A shovel helps too. You don't have one? Well, I don't know what. You can use the pan. So, okay. So now all that stuff that fell through the 20, you do it all over again with the 30. Okay? Anything that won't go through the 30 gets run through this. This is an automatic panner. This will pan in an hour what would take me days. And I gotta turn the power on. Runs off 12 volt. You put your material in here. It's like a hopper. Roll these things in there. You can all come and look at this. It goes, the heavy material goes up the ripple, falls through the center, and falls in that yellow bucket. See where the water's coming out there? All your heavies fall there. And like I said, just a pan in an hour, more than I even want a pan in a day. But you don't have
These
one
are
of them,
great
it's
for
a no.
fine
All
gold.
you
Sorry
need
I
is a
can't talk
pan,
much, guys. It's
okay?
annoying the other people.
These work really well, by the way.
When we went out panning just for fun, we just take the pan down the river, use
Right.
the pan as a shovel,
That's
and
right.
then just knock all the big stuff out and just keep doing that.
That's right. That's the way the old timers did.
Yeah, you can really just do it.
All you need is
Just
a
for
pan.
practice.
Remember that. When you're beginning, all you need is a pan.
You can buy them.
You know what? This works. This is like a 1960s spiral wheel. It works really good with a beer.
It's called the gold wheel, I think. I think it's just called the gold wheel.
Yeah, this one's called the gold. There's all kinds of them. All the good ones have a hole in the center where the heavies drop out. Don't get one if you ever got one. Don't get one without that hole in the center. So
There's a gold shop set up in there that sells all that.
yeah,
Kind of stand back over here, then I can talk without annoying people so much. I want to talk to everybody about the LDMA and the group outings that they could all participate in. They're not free, but they're not that expensive. But I don't know anybody here that well. I don't know if I'll have a chance to do that or not. If you guys are curious, though, I have several videos of my older videos that you can go look at from the outings at Blue Bucket and Duesenberg.
These are really good ones. I've had this since the 80s.
The whole setup, or
Yeah, the whole setup right here. This piece of equipment. I've had it since the 80s. It's gone to Alaska and back with me. The cheaper ones set out in the sun and full of warmth. This one hasn't. This was the first piece of mechanical equipment I bought, and it was.
Yeah, the stickers here are no fun.
How long did it take to pay for itself?
Back then, gold wasn't as high as it is now. Right. Well, it spiked in the 80s, but it came down right away. And you know, people talk about the power packs on the forum all the time. This is my power pack. It cost me less than $100.
what is that? Battery?
Yeah, it's two lead acid batteries and a box. I have a 50-watt solar panel. I usually leave hooked up all day. Keep it charged. Or I can hook it up to the truck. It'll just charge off those batteries. It also runs my blue ball.
I just broke the hour mark. I'm entering Burger Planet territory for the length of my live stream, right?
This one's kind of worn out. Okay, so you run 20 plus, which is all the stuff that, oh no, you run 20 minus through that. So you got that yellow bucket full of material. Come over here and screen it again with the 30 screen. 30. Anything that won't go through that, you run through the blue ball. You run the blue ball full blast. You know what? I'm not going to fire that right now. I'll do it as you walk by. Anything that goes through the 30, you screen with the 50. Anything that won't go through 50, you run through the blue ball. Not full blast though. You cut down the amount of water, and I'll show you that. You go all the way up to 100. That's 100. That's a really small screen. You run both, the one that won't go through and the one that will go through this blue bowl. You just adjust the water accordingly. How fast? This is a vortex too. Kind of like that, only without the riffle. I'll show you that. Shovels come in real handy. It's a lot easier to dig with a shovel than it is with your hands. cheap little scoops. They work good for scooping into that from a bucket into the hopper over there. But what they really work good for is your metal detector. Because your metal detector, most of them, pick up the salt on your hand. So you see people running, hear that? The change of tone, that's the salt in my hand. So you use one of these, hopefully it's clean. And you see, now it's not, you don't have the change of tone. That's what these are really good for. On that, you really don't want to dig holes in the ground with them because they're plastic. But they do have their place.
So that's how you determine if there's gold in that left over, or
Pardon me?
do you use the metal detector to look at what you got left?
Yeah. I use it on the tailing piles there, both sides. This panning bucket, we've been panning it for a few days. There's a ton of material in here. Okay? I'll take my Falcon metal detector. This is a real sensitive metal detector. It'll find super
I've been
small
prospecting
pieces.
for over 10 years.
And I'll run it through this.
Or do you mean how long have I been doing the video?
Of course, see, there's no gold in this stuff. But I'll use that to check that.
What else will that pick up besides gold? Silver, copper?
Anything metal. Metal is metal. Any metal detector will pick up anything metal. This ain't picking that up right now. It probably needs to be tuned.
Do you have any of the gold that you found?
Yeah, I got some. Metal detecting is the hardest way to find gold. Believe me, I found everything with my detector except gold. You're in an area where there's fishing, you could be 100 yards off that river, and what do you find? Lead weights, fish hooks, lures.
The trick to metal detecting is to get far enough back in the woods that you to where people have been. When there's people, there's trash.
Third shot on a shotgun shell.
But if you go away from people and you hear something on your detector, you know it's going to be something good, most likely. Occasionally a bullet, but if you're far enough away from people, you won't even find those.
And the lead inside, when they hit, they fragment. Oh God, they sound exactly like good nuggets.
I got a question, and if this has been addressed, I
No, go ahead.
apologize to everyone, but something that I think everybody would. I want to talk to somebody who spent a lot of time in the desert, which is you. What do you know about valley fever? Everybody coming here.
Use a dust mask when you use the dry washer.
I come from the place with the most valley fever in the world. I know.
If you're making dust,
I'll go talk to him about it.
if you're making dust, use a dust mask. That's about what I know.
How many adults? I mean, do you know humans that have gotten it since you've been out here a lot?
I've heard.
I come from the part of the.
I don't know anybody personally. I don't have it.
I do. I'll tell you all about it when you're done with him.
Okay.
If you use those cheap dust masks, get the good ones, the 3M, and adjust them like, read the instructions, and adjust them like they say. I have a little bit better one.
So bad where I live, they teach us about it in school. Bakersfield, California.
Which one you use?
Yeah, a lot of farming. They kick up a lot of dust. It's a spore. Most everybody who's lived there has caught it and just had flu-like symptoms.
Does it matter how deep
But 10% of people get really ill from it. Everybody else, it's just like a flu, and then you're over it within a few weeks or a month. And there's no telling who it's going to be that's the 10% that gets really sick. So it's a concern, but, you know, it's not, yeah.
you take that condensation?
Sorry, I'm leaving right now. I answered his question already.
3 feet where the gold is to bedrock. So that hole is about 5 feet deep, give or take. It depends on the bedrock. So, but in my hand, boy, there's got to be a lot of gold there for me to go deeper than 5 feet. Listen here. Yeah. Most of the time, I shouldn't say that, because that's really not true. Okay. More equipment. Of course, I showed you the shovel. These also come in real handy. But these are for young men. What do you think? These weigh a ton, you swing, you start hours, you're gonna get work. This is much better. I can work this one with one hand all day long. I can switch hands, you know. You can use 2 hands if you want. This is S-wing Geo Paleo pick. Okay, it's a lot lighter. Anything from S-wing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to see Freddie.
Clean your bedrock. Clean it. Clean it real good. That's where the gold works its way down over millions of years. Once it hits that bedrock, it can't go no farther. Unless there's a crack in it, then it gets in the crack. Then you get a S-wing bar. You pound into the crack and break that crack open. And of course they have various chisels and that kind of stuff. And you got a crack scoop. I mean, you can get into this stuff. Someone gave me this metal detector. Said it didn't work. They just gave it to me this morning. I'm gonna play with it, see if I can get it to work. Any metal detector will find any metal if it's working. As you can see, mine over there wouldn't even pick up the table light. Needs to be tuned. But you don't have to spend, what's the new mine lab go for?
I didn't know, but I'll try to look him up.
You don't have to spend $8,000 right off the bat. And like I said, it's the hardest way to find gold. These are just sample bags. You can use anything for your samples. Bags, buckets. Some of my buckets, if they were used for sample bags, have a number on them. I keep a record where that bucket came from. Also, these things come in handy for prospecting or not if you're using a bucket. You take your bucket, you cut the junk thing here off, and you snap one of these around the handle. And it makes it a hell of a lot better to carry, especially if it's heavy. Somewhere I have some buckets with some on them. Where do you get these?
Yeah.
They're called snappy grips. You can get them online. Any prospecting store, I think he has them in town.
Yes, he
Has them. Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyson
Any
Wells.
prospecting store I have them. But you can get them online.
What's
I
the
had a
fair
brand.
price for them?
$5.
They're
$5
like
a set.
$3 for 2. So, the only problem with them is, from the company that makes them for the military, Ames. Ames is a big shovel tool manufacturer. They do all kinds of, they do full-size shovels, but they make these for the government. They're about, I forget what I paid for them on Amazon. They're getting hard to find in the surplus stores. They make, you can, of course, you can get cheap Chinese imitations. They are worth nothing. You wasted your money if you bought one. You'll break them right off the bat. Who had
Over there.
Can you just go really quick, like 15 seconds?
I know. I don't know why they put me at 4 o'clock.
No, just through the size of the screens and the process, the whole process from beginning to end in like 15 seconds.
15 seconds?
He's not Superman, he's a prospector.
I'm not as young as I used to be.
45 seconds, just from beginning to end in order.
You can see anything on YouTube. Okay, found gold because you panned some gold. You've sampled. You got gold in your hole.
What number is it?
You go to chest number. Shake it. Material falls through. You throw the junk away. You put as much in that bucket as you can carry. Take it back to your camp and you work it there. Unless you can get your dry washer right there next to where you're working, you just shovel into that. Then you take it and you screen it through your screens. Anything that won't fall through a 20, you pan. I can pan a pan that won't fall through the 20 in about 30 seconds. Anything that will fall through goes through the gold wheel. Anything that ends up in the yellow bucket gets screened 30, 50, and 100. And each one of those is run through the blue bowl separately. Now, if you don't have those, you're panning everything. That's but all day. We're going to lose some sun here. Yes. What is? You know, that's good. I don't know. I've never used a millet table. I would imagine it's the same as the blue bowl. Whatever you're doing. Now, if you have all the screens, all you need is pan. You just have to pan it.
If we signed up for one of your free dirt bags, when can we come and do?
Anytime starting tomorrow.
Anytime.
Some people's already come. Yeah.
What time tomorrow? What time?
What's your tolerance for cold water? This water's cold at 8 o'clock in the morning. Real cold.
And until
and
when?
You are going to get wet.
Until when?
I don't know. I've been told to cut it off at like 2 o'clock, but
8 to 2 tomorrow.
Depends how tired I am. How many people show up at one time during the day. I can do about 10 a day, no problem.
Is there any sign-ups left for those?
What's that? Who said that?
I said, is there any sign-ups left for your dirt bags?
No. So you can get on the secondary list, but I won't start giving those out until towards the end. So, but I'll still give panning lessons. Anybody who wants with real gold. So you'll get the pan. You just won't get to keep the gold.
Well, now I got to go to apologize to him for continuously talking over him. Sorry about talking again in the video. I was doing a live and people kept asking questions.
Start the pyrite.
Here's a nice chunk of fool's gold. It's not mine. And you really don't get...
Look at all that. Sorry.
Really here it doesn't look like gold. But once it's broken up into little pieces, it looks like gold. You want to feel it?
Yes. Here's your gold back.
Okay, thank you.
So what would you say this is worth?
He had some real gold out here earlier somewhere. I hope he doesn't get mad
at me.
Right? Well, look, come over. I don't want to touch it because it's his, but come over here and look. If there's some real gold right here.
You can come from...
I didn't bring mine with me.
Thank you.
If you can stand cold water when you come earlier, well, that's up to you.
Are you going to be doing it earlier?
I've never seen it this
coloration
other than where it's thick. I've seen that color.
Okay, guys, I guess I'm going to end this video. We're running out of daylight, as you can tell. Thanks for watching, everybody who did.
Signed up for a bag, or you just want to walk around?
We'll walk by and look at all the
equipment real quick. I want to offer him, see if he gets overwhelmed, if he needs help teaching people to pan tomorrow, but I'll wait till he has a second to talk.
For the lesson, I'll take like this and I'll salt it with some of the gold right there. Okay? And it works. And you don't have to worry if anybody loses it, which happened like 3 or 4 times last year. They lose the gold in here, and I'll get it out.
All the people on my live video said to tell you thanks.
Oh, sure. You know what? I would have gone longer, but
The sun was going down, I
I'm the
know.
one that did that for me. But it is what it is.
Yeah. It was still cool. You touched on all the bases. Sorry I kept interrupting. I just, I get excited about this stuff.
No, don't mind. Hey, if you want to come around at any time for questions, I'll be glad to help you out with what I can.
Okay. When do you when did you say we could come by and you would show us how to paint?
Starting tomorrow.
6 o'clock in the morning.
I would hope you would wait at least till 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Because this water's cold before 10 o'clock. Depending on the weather, it could be cold at 10 o'clock. Oh, dang. Look at that.
Especially if you have arthritis, that water's real bad. I'm learning that one
Fire
now.
up the wheel.
So do we need to sign up for it or not?
No.
Okay.
All the sign-ups are taken.
Okay.
But I'll still teach you.
Okay.
Okay?
That's the
You
important
just
thing.
don't get
I don't
to
want
keep
your
the
gold.
gold. Yeah, you just don't get to keep it.
I've got a little bit of paint.
Okay, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.
If you want it, that's fine with me.
Can you use it?
Can I use it? You
No,
want the gold
it's about
in it.
5,000
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah,
5,000 lifetime.
Yeah, and then they
For a
have.
guy like me, it's not worth it.
Well, here's the thing. Me too. I'm on disability, but with the down,
I might, it depends. Depends on, I have a 4-inch spread.
they have about
But
a
I've
dozen.
packed
I wanted to
down
talk
the
about this,
mountain
but
and
I don't know them that well. I
back
didn't
out
want to
to the
just get up and start talking. But they have
But I was
12
10
or
years
maybe
young.
10 patented deeded properties, which means they're removed from the public land. They're private property with mineral rights, and you can literally live on those for the rest of your life when you're a member. Some of them even have power. There's one here in Stanton, Arizona, for like $10 extra a day. You get full hookups. My favorite is Duesenberg in Ridgecrest, California. It used to be completely free. Now it's $3 a day to stay, but that's still cheaper.
I'll have to look into it a little bit.
And they have clubhouses.
I
And
tried to send an email to the guy that runs the Arizona Gold Prospectors.
yeah.
And sent him an email. Never heard. Asked him a couple questions. Never heard back from him.
It's hard to get a hold of people on emails. I tried contacting Bob to get me in touch. I wanted to get a hold of him before I got here to see if I could do anything. Like, it's impossible to get a hold of anybody on email. A lot of people don't check emails. But
It kind of aggravated me. I said, the heck with them.
well, the LDMA also has these group outings. If you're GPAA, which is cheaper, you can do the group outings for, I think it's like 120 for GPAA members, but they bring in all the equipment, they dig up all the dirt, they supply the dry washers, the high bankers, the sluice boxes. All you do is show up every morning, work for 3 or 4 hours, and then at the end, everybody gets a share of the gold.
Kind of like Jeff Williams says.
Yeah, oh, Jeff Williams is one of my favorites. I love Jeff Williams. Come on, let's go.
Jeff Williams.
Yeah.
You're gonna get wet.
You guys know Jack Tucker, Gold Fever Radio? He's a pretty good guy too.
You know what? I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
And Prospector TV.
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
guy's name?
RV or TV? He's a prospector.
Prospector TV. He's at the Gold Show. He sells CDs, DVDs.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now.
Prospector Channel.
Prospector Channel. Yeah.
I can't think of it.
Oh, you
He's a
mean
real good
Tom
guy.
Massey?
No.
Not Tom
No,
Massey.
that's the GPA.
Gold Fever. Yeah.